Welcome to day 136. We're reading the whole Bible this year, and today we have 6 more Psalms to get to, so let's get into it. We start off with Psalm 3, which is very similar to a bunch of the Psalms that we have read lately, where David is writing about how he is seeking the Lord's refuge and looking for help from him and trusting in the Lord. This one specifically gives us the context related to yesterday's reading, where David is running from his son Absalom, who is kind of storming Jerusalem to take over the nation. And so this gives us some particular context that even in that moment when there is tangible trouble coming at him, here's how David responds. He turns to the Lord and looks to him for salvation, for comfort, and for protection. Psalm 4 is very similar to Psalm 3 in that it is calling out to the Lord and talking about trusting in him in times of trouble. And that's greatly summed up in the last line where it says, I will both lie down and sleep in peace. For you alone, Lord, make me live in safety. Psalm 12 is a call to pursue and seek the Lord and to turn to him even in the midst of a culture that is full of people who lie, who have empty flattering upon their lips, and their words are meaningless and speak falsehood and evil. And in the midst of all of that, trusting in the Lord, even in a fallen world, which is exactly the kind of world we live in right now too. Psalm 13 is a plea for deliverance, starting with, how long, Lord? Again, making it okay for us all to express our frustration and our pain and anguish as we find ourselves suffering and having long-lasting suffering, and knowing that still we turn to the Lord and we wait on him and we continue to seek him, even if it seems like it is taking a long time for his deliverance to come. Psalm 28 is titled, My Strength, and we see that in the second half here as it says, Lord, I call on you, do not drag me away, do not let me be dragged away by the evildoers and the wicked ones, but instead, blessed be the Lord, for he has heard the sound of my pleading. The Lord is my strength and my shield. The Lord is the strength of his people. He's a stronghold of salvation for his anointed. When we turn to him and look to him, he is our strength even in times of trouble. He is our protector in times of trouble. He is the one who sustains us and delivers us. Just so many times and ways to redirect our attention toward the Lord, even when everything in the world seems to be against us. David's prayer in Psalm 55 is one of betrayal by a friend, or he's praying and writing in response to his betrayal by his friend, seemingly when Absalom is trying to take over Jerusalem, and one of David's closest advisors switches sides and joins Absalom's side and becomes one of his advisors. And this mirrors some of the stuff that we read about in 2 Samuel 15. And so, where he's praying, Lord, confuse and confound their speech. I see violence and strife in the city. It's my enemy. It's not an enemy, but it was my friend, somebody who I loved and was close with. And that hurts so much more. And Lord, tear him down, take him down to Sheol, the place of death, alive. Let him see that, because evil is everywhere in him. And as it's calling out for all of this and complaining about the evil and betrayal that this man is exhibiting in the way that he, speaks like honey, but it's really poison and all of this, David's conclusion is 22, cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken. And so that is, again, always our response is, even if we're going like, God, like tear them down or show them the way of righteousness, turn them, call them to repentance, Lord, make them face what they've been doing and turn them away from their sin, that they would turn back to you. And if they will not turn to you, then let them get the result of their sin. That's still turning to the Lord to deal with these things, and turning them over to him is the best way to handle any and all of this. In today's day and age, the thing that speaks to me the most out of reading through this is the reminder that it's the Lord who will protect us. We don't have to do it. I don't have to come up with the right words to defend myself or to defend my faith or defend the right things, but trusting in the Lord and allowing him to work on people's hearts, to even to give me the words to say that I might speak truth and speak on behalf of the Lord, because never forgetting that Romans 5 tells us that God's love is proved to us in this, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And so even those who are sinning and evil and doing everything they can seemingly to reject every way of the Lord. Still, it is the Lord's desire that they would be saved. And so let me be an agent of that salvation and hope in their salvation rather than being somebody who just confirms their evil and everything else. Like verses 7 and 8 of Psalm 12. You, Lord, will guard us. You will protect us from this generation forever. The wicked prowl all around, and what is worthless is exalted by the human race. And let me be that. Let me be that one who turns to the Lord and trusts in him to guard and defend, even when surrounded by a wicked generation. That's what really speaks to me. It seems timely for the days that we live in at the moment, and has been since David's time and probably always will be until Jesus comes back. I'd love to hear what you think. So let's talk about it in the comments and in the chat on the Bible app. In the meantime, be rad for Jesus.